So, I'm actually kind of doing a double feature kind of video. Today, you guys are going to get ready with me a little bit before I go off to work. I like to be prepared and stuff, and it makes me feel good every time I go in. Well, part of this video is also a response to, and I'm sure a lot of people have already heard of her, but Ophelia Nichols. She's on YouTube, she's on Facebook, she's on TikTok, but, like, I saw one of her videos. It was posted pretty early, or late last night, early this morning, one of the two. But she gave me a bunch of things to think about and some things that I kind of wanted to touch on in a video and kind of give her my sort of response back to it. She'd been talking about possibly reconnecting with her mom. And for me, that's a bit of a double-edged sword. Like, as somebody who left the state because of how their family was and stuff like that. Don't mind me, it's just some juice. But I left my home state in part due to how my family is. My family is not, how you say, the most kind family out there. There have been lots of interesting things that have happened. It's been a bit of a trip dealing with it. We actually had a recent incident that I had to help in part with, even from all the way up here. Well, one of the things that I want to talk about is, even though your mom tells you that she's proud of you and all that stuff, even if you get exactly what you were searching for, sometimes it just can't undo what she's already done. Like, I got stories about my mom, and I was more or less raised by my siblings. It was definitely a situation that I don't wish upon anyone. Like, it wasn't fair to them. It wasn't fair to me. But at the same time, I understand my mom was doing everything in her power to keep us more or less alive. Well, kudos to her for going through everything that she did, but things that were not needed in my childhood were the getting upset over reading after a certain time. Like, just the general feelings of having nowhere to turn besides your siblings. Like, just parts of Miss Ophelia's story on her latest YouTube, were so similar. Like, those feelings, the whole 9 yards. But, like my mom, nobody believes me. Nobody believes me until they see it. My best friend, how could she have competed with that? Like, I won't tell you tons about my best friend's life, but she had a mom that was similar. It was hard seeing that in somebody I cared so much about. Like, and I still care about her. Like, that's my best friend. But like my sister was more of a mother to me than anyone. And as Mother's Day comes up, every year I find myself hoping that I could have that relationship with my mother that, I always kind of secretly wanted this, that, and the other thing. But, the thing that stops me is I've seen her treat other people in my family the same way she treated me and my siblings, and some days even my father. Like, no, we're not, none of us are perfect, but, like, as Eminem has said in one of his songs, there's a certain line that you just don't cross. And they crossed it. Like, we all have things that make us unique and make us go, well, this could be different. Well, in reality, forgiving is easy. Like, I forgive her for all of the things she put us through. But you know what? Forgetting those traumatic moments of feeling like not only do I have to be traumatized by my family, but are my parents getting a divorce? Like, my home life as a child was not good. It, for lack of better words, it just kind of sucked. I was always labeled as the weird kid, because who wants to hang out with somebody whose parents can't even get along? Like, my mom put up facades all the time. If we'd have anyone come over, like some of my sister's best friends have stories about what they have walked into. Like, it's situations like that that make life harder to handle and make people go, well, I don't want to be around that. I don't want to be near any of this. And no, I haven't fully cut ties with my family or anything like that, because there's certain people in my family that I want to be there for. And I can only cut out so many people without cutting them out. Like, I had so many surrogate moms, it wasn't even funny. Like, my sister and some of her friends made better parents than my own parents. Like, no, it's certainly not easy to be a parent, and especially a parent of a child with needs that can outweigh your own. But, like to not even try. My mom has tried to tell me that she wanted to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, one of the two. And she wanted that for a long time. Well, her dad talked her out of it because it wasn't a practical thing. And granted, I love my grandpa, even though he's no longer with us. I love him to death. But that's backwards thinking. That's the kind of backwards thinking that gets girls thinking that they can't do anything. Like, it's not it's not that they can't, it's that somebody believes that they're going to fail and they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with any kind of the fallout, none of it. Well, I don't want any child in my family, especially the girls, to feel that way. They have voices. And unfortunately, I have had to cut most of the ties with my brother because him and his wife they're not bad people, but my brother has taken on traits of my mother as an actual parent, and I can't watch it anymore. It's hard. Like, you don't want to watch these kids grow up this way. It's not an easy thing to see. It's not an easy thing to go and deal with. But, despite everything she's done to me, I still love my mother. I still love my father. They were kind of dealt the cruel hands of fate, and it's been a wild ride. One of my big things is, even treating children like they're humans, because I never felt like I was allowed to be a human growing up. And, my mom always told me that my dreams weren't going to amount to anything. And it's always the bad stuff that sticks. I commend Miss Ophelia for being able to completely forgive her mom for everything that she's done. It is not an easy boat to be in. Whereas I can forgive some pieces of what my mom has done, I can't forget them. Because the moment that I try to forget is the moment that she's going to come back, and it gives that trauma response again. It's not that she's this absolutely awful person. It's just, she probably shouldn't have been the person that was responsible for me. She is very testy, especially about schoolwork. It's it's that stereotype of, if you don't do good, you're never going to amount to anything. And at this point in time, I'm the example. I'm the example that they want to set against. Because I don't live my life conventionally. I never have, and honestly, I never will. Because I can't. It's not me. And, I commend everyone for any number of reasons about what they've dealt with and who they've had to be around, and some of the situations I've seen other people in make me feel like I'm a whiny baby, but as a little kid, these were the people who were responsible for me. My mom doesn't believe in mental health help. And then she's She scoffed repeatedly at the times that I have been like, well, my mental health isn't good. Oh, well, you don't actually have that. You're obviously faking kind of looks. Like, I don't believe a word of what you're saying. You're probably lying to your doctors. Well, when you end up institutionalized because you can't handle the pressure of life and you see yourself turning into exactly what you don't want to be, it kind of gives you that, at least a little bit of a breakthrough, and going, huh, maybe, just maybe, I need to cut these people out of my life and wish them well on their future endeavors. Trauma responses like that, like Mother's Day is triply triggering for me. Like, I love the heck out of Mother's Day because, well, I am a mom. I'm not a mom by actually taking care of children, but like, I do have a child that I gave up for adoption because I knew that would be best for them. Like, being able to say at 16 that I'm not going to make this fit parent. Like, and I wanted to, but I also knew and recognized that I couldn't. I didn't have the right kind of support system. I didn't have what I needed to be successful. So, being a mom to me was not an option. And then as time went on and my health kept getting worse, it's like I'm making the best decisions for me. And my mom tried to talk me out of my sterilization. She's like, well, what if you want kids in the future? Well, then guess what? I'll adopt. It's that simple. I don't want to raise small children at this point in my life. Like, in order to do that, not only do I have to give up pieces of my health and hope that I don't hurt myself in the process. Like, it's just a bunch of hard consequences right now, and knowing that I can't do it and that I can't sacrifice myself and still have the potential to turn into my mother. Like, that has always been my greatest fear. But one thing that I can say is that even after hearing those words of, I'm so proud of you, it still doesn't change the fact that she did what she did. Like, she could tell me she's proud of me 50,000 times a day. But coming from her, it doesn't make things better or worse. It just kind of makes things. Like the ye old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. that's kind of how I see it. Like, if she wants to become a better person, she's going to. But I can't force it on her. I can't change her mind about health. I can just tell her that, hey, your child's going through some pretty serious things. My full diagnosis is non-radiographic axial spondyloarthritis, and they're looking at me for a few other things. And right now, life is good. Like, we're getting to that point where maybe we might just get over this hump. And I'm happy for that. I'm so happy for that. I'm ecstatic. But at the same time, like, I'm not sharing that happiness with her. I can't. My sister was more of a mother to me than my own mother was most of the time. The person that would be at my bedside when I woke up with nightmares wasn't my mother. If my mom was there, she'd come in, tell me to be quiet, and go back to sleep. Not try to find out what was going on, none of it. My mom was the kind of mom, at least for me, that made it difficult to want to be a mom. Like, she has her good moments, and I can't do anything to fault her because she made her choices. She made her choices, and these are the results. But at the same time, I still have love in my heart because at the end of the day, she's just a person too. Like, sorry, that part always gets me. But no, like, at the end of the day, she's gonna act how she's gonna act. And for Miss Ophelia, in my experience, you can't let them dictate who you're gonna be. You let the people who you want in your life. And you let them in as much as you want. And if you want to give them second chances, especially your mom, that's up to you. It's about setting those boundaries and letting her know that you will not stand for this. That it is not her choice in how things are going to go. And that she can't force you to be not you. Like, I'm a huge stickler on, like, the forgive strategies. But, and this came from my dad, but an elephant never forgets. I can forgive, but I'm not going to forget what has been done. It's kind of the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Like, it's not about feeling like you can't get ahead. It's about the feeling you get when you know that person's around. Like, I wish that I could give my sister all the hugs in the world right now. Because she was one of the best mamas ever. Like, she was such a great mama to her girls. And it wasn't even a, well, I don't want to be like my mom situation. It was, my sister was a genuinely great person. And she deserved to have way more in her life than she did. Like, it's not easy. By the gods, it is not easy. And praying for outcomes, for good outcomes, only goes so far. Like, miracles do come. Miracles come, miracles go. But, like, holding your breath for it to happen isn't always the best idea. Like I know for me, I can't hold on to the anger that I had growing up. Like, she should have been a better mom. But my mom, those are her choices. And she made them. And now she's got to learn to live with the consequences. Like, being a parent is tough enough, but not knowing when to apologize to your children for being wrong it's too much. And telling your children that they aren't worth anything and making them feel like they have no future because they didn't listen to you. Why should they listen to you if all you're going to do is be mean? Like, I know plenty of good mamas out there. And I'm proud of each and every one of them. Like, I know good dads too. And, you know, as long as you don't go judging others for, like, the things that you've done and blaming everyone else for things that you have caused. Like, one good story that comes to mind for me is with my ex. No, he wasn't the worst person in the world. He could have been worse. He could have physically hurt me. But knowing that I was causing him pain, it sucked. I didn't want to cause anyone pain. Like, that's not who I am. And because he made the choices he made, now he's got to live with the consequences. And I had to make difficult choices. It was almost a me or him aspect. It's either I sacrifice myself and my sanity and everything that I've worked so hard for somebody else who was not born from me, or I get out and save myself. Save myself trouble, save myself grief, what have you. And I know a lot of people don't agree with what my decision was. They think it's selfish. They think that I should have stayed with him. But it's not their life to live. They don't have to live with everything that I live with. Like, heck, I'm disabled, and I just turned 26. So it's not easy. Like, I'm one of the few people in my family who has, like, some super serious conditions. And by the gods, it's not easy to have them. But I also know that if I hadn't gone through what I had gone through as a child, I probably wouldn't be as strong as I am. I am thankful for some of the things that I went through. Were they right? Gods know. But did it help me become a better person for myself, for everyone, especially the people around me? I hope so. Like, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, you have to live your life for you because you're the only one who's living it. Not your neighbor, not your best friend, and certainly not your parents. None of us asked to be born into the world that we were born into. And it can be hard to remember that even though we are all different, we're all the same somehow, some way. None of us asked for anything that we got. And, some of us take it in different ways than other people. Like, I'm thankful to my family for how I was raised, because that made me me. It didn't make me a bad person. It still doesn't make me a bad person, because I'm not them. Like, I have this wonderful therapist right now, and just talking to her about some of this stuff, I've come to the realizations that, the only person that can change my outcome is me. I don't want an outcome? Fine. I can change it. And that's all we kind of got to do. So, to answer your question, Mama Tator Tot, it's all up to how you want to play it. It's not easy, but if you think it's worth it, give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? But I have spent way too much time rambling on. This is like a 30-minute video. So, but those are my thoughts on it. Like, everyone's got that toxic family member somewhere. And whether or not you let them stay in your life is up to you. Because sometimes you gotta let them stay. And it may suck, but you'll get through. One way or another. You always do.